All right, folks, we are back here, episode 3, learning the basics of knowing where to sell online. And we're going to jump into the hosted e-commerce platform here, like a Shopify or a BigCommerce, right?
Right.
So let's talk about some of the pros here. Level me up. Why is this a good idea?
There's a lot of reasons.
Okay.
Let's define these weird words.
Okay.
Hosted e-commerce platform. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
I would say that I would define it this way. So with Amazon and these other platforms that exist already, there's definitely some limitations there. We talked about that. Building custom, there's definitely some limitations to that, some cost factors to consider. Hosted e-commerce platform, you're basically renting the platform.
Okay.
So it's kind of like Amazon where they've already done the work. You're just paying a small fee every month. So for example, on Shopify or BigCommerce, kind of $29, $30 a month, kind of that range gets you started.
Okay.
Very low entry cost. Allows you to basically rent their equipment and their technology, and you can upload your products and your logo and customize it very quickly, right?
Okay.
So you don't have to pay the developer. In the case of custom, that's the big cost, is paying those developers to build it.
Yeah.
So you don't have that upfront cost. But the other benefit that you don't have with Amazon too is you keep that customer relationship intact. Does that make sense? So hosted e-commerce platform, the reason I recommend it so often is it's a nice middle ground. You have the low cost, but you retain that relationship with your customer. You get the best of both of those worlds.
Okay.
Okay. It's still going to require you to be a little bold, a little brave, and get out there and do things like upload images and type your own descriptions and make your own photography. But if you're willing to do those things and take those chances and learn and put in the work yourself, you have major benefits, major upside. So you asked about pros. Let's start with that kind of lower upfront and lower long-term cost. What does that mean? So
sounds like we're spending less money.
Less money.
Okay.
No developers have to be involved. You can do this yourself.
Okay.
You can do this on a weekend.
Wow.
We've had clients that we've helped build a store, a very simple store with just a few products in one day.
Really?
And that's very important. Get out there, get it established, because what you're going to learn is most people, when they get into a store, they think that they need to get really good at retailing, at the pricing strategy and the description and the images. And yes, those are crucial elements. But actually what you're going to learn is you need to be really good at SEO. You're really good at advertising. You're really good at marketing.
You need to get people to your page.
You need to bring people in, because if you're on Amazon or those other platforms, right, they've already got the people. You're bringing your product to their marketplace.
Yeah.
If you build your own marketplace, you need to bring people to you. That's a much different skill set. So most people kind of focus on, oh my God, it's hard to build a store. No. Don't focus on the store. Focus on the skills you need to build: SEO, advertising, marketing. Does that make sense? So get out there just as quickly as you can and learn the lessons as quickly as you can. Lower upfront cost, lower long-term cost, faster time to market. That's kind of encapsulates the whole idea there is get it out there just as quick as you can so you can start to learn your lessons quickly.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Learn who those customers are, what will people pay, who are your core customers, how do you get them back, right?
Which is what you're doing with the custom software too.
Yes.
You're doing you're still having to get people to your site. You're still having to figure out all these lessons, except you just paid a ton more money to get started.
At a much higher entry point, yeah.
Okay.
And long-term cost is much higher too.
Okay.
So this is, that middle ground, you see that start to emerge is you're renting, right? And you don't have a lot of customization, but it does kind of 95% of what you'd ever want it to do.
Okay.
And your cost is lower, and you own the customer relationship. So
Nice.
it's a nice middle ground between those pieces.
You're almost creating your own Amazon.
Yeah, in a way, a small Amazon.
Yeah, your own, right?
Right, and it's dedicated to your products, so
Okay.
you cross-sell, you upsell with your products.
Okay.
So you're keeping that revenue.
Right.
So there's definitely risk and reward there. If I'm able to bring people to my store and I can learn quickly about what people will buy and who my customers are, then I can take advantage of that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then I can start to scale that.
Okay.
So major pros. Another one is you don't have to worry about the security risks.
Okay.
Hackers and things like that. Because Shopify, BigCommerce, they have engineers and security people on staff that's their job.
Right.
Again, you're kind of renting their equipment and their software. So they have the nerds. You don't have to have nerds.
Sure.
You're basically renting their nerds and their equipment. It's easy to set up, like I say, upsell and cross-sell.
Okay.
You can control all those aspects. And I don't know what that is for your business, but if you can increase your per transaction total, isn't it better to make $30 per sale rather than $20? You know,
I mean, the math works out. Yeah.
I hope so.
Okay.
So you can start to think through what's a related product and how does it relate. That's where you really get to know your customer, get to know what they're most likely to buy as a recommended. You know, you see that all the time.
Right.
You know, kind of the recommended or deal of the day. You know, those are things you want to get to. That's where it gets kind of fun, I think.
Sure.
But you have to know your customer. You have to get out there. We keep talking about this kind of owning the relationship with the customer. That is a major pro, again, with this kind of hosted e-commerce platform, is I know who they are. I have their contact information, and I could start to see their behavior and learn what they want and don't want. And I can reach out and I can begin to learn what's going to convert them the first time, and then what's going to bring them back and convert them to a sale the second time.
Okay.
That's where it kind of gets fun, I think.
Okay.
So that's a major benefit of the hosted is you for a much lower upfront cost, you get to learn people's behavior quicker.
Okay.
And get out there. There's another kind of idea here. I'll flip over to this tab again here. So WooCommerce extensions. That's if you were doing a custom deal. If you were on BigCommerce, for example, they have apps and extensions as well. Shopify has apps and extensions. And what that is for, I don't know, $5, $10 a month, usually really low cost.
Yeah.
You're kind of renting that software that some other developer wrote.
Right.
Right. So if you wanted a membership plugin to where you sell a recurring subscription, you can do that.
Yeah.
If you want better marketing tools, you can do that.
Okay.
And, for example, have you ever noticed where you move your mouse up to close a website, to close a tab, and you see a pop-up?
Oh, yeah.
That's called an exit pop-up.
Okay.
Is usually what that's called. And it usually says, get 10% off if you sign up or buy today.
Right.
So that's an example of a plugin, is you can get that kind of functionality to hopefully capture just a little more sale than you would have. Those are the kind of things you get with a Shopify or a BigCommerce for very low cost point.
Okay. So those are the pros. We've heard some pros. Obviously, you're biased. You've got some pros here.
Definitely.
Let's talk about the cons. The cons of this hosted e-commerce platform. What are the negatives here? Why wouldn't you do this?
I would say it's not a negative for the technology or the platform or even the approach. It's more, the con is more in your mindset. And I'm going to say it this way. If you build it, your customers are not automatically going to show up and buy from you. There's no magic to being online that equates to immediate sales.
Right.
Your work is in the marketing. You are creating a market for yourself, your marketplace for yourself. And so, like I say, you may begin this whole adventure thinking that your biggest challenge is learning the retailing, the photography, and the text, and that kind of thing. You'll find quickly that's really not where the challenge is. The challenge is in your mindset that you're becoming a marketer, an advertiser, and an SEO optimizer. Just those are the three big ones that I can think of.
You're basically putting together your own lemonade stand, except you're putting it in your backyard.
Right.
And you're like hoping that people just kind of walk into your backyard and buy lemonade. It's not going to work like that, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
You have to get good at getting people to your lemonade stand.
Okay.
You have to find out who the right people are.
Yeah.
And so I see so many people that they start in this store process and they don't understand what it's really going to take. If you talk to them 2 years later and they're successful, you're going to hear things like SEO, marketing, advertising, customer optimization, customer feedback. These are the real things that they learn. It's not about the images per se. It's about what it took to get the customer there.
Okay.
So the con is not in the system itself. The con is the fact that you don't have millions built in like Amazon.
Right.
You have to create that. You have to bring those people to you. And so if you're not strong on SEO, you need to watch our SEO trainings.
Yep.
If you're not strong on advertising or marketing, you need to watch those videos.
Yeah.
And learn, because that's where you're going to make your money.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It's a con, but it's really in your mindset. You need to shift your mindset and learn what you need to learn.
Okay. And really, I mean, if we're being truthful here, even if you have like an okay product, but you're really good at getting people to go check out that product,
right,
your sales are going to be a lot higher than if you have like the best thing in the world, but you can't get anybody to look at it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So those were sort of the cons, but that wasn't really the cons of a hosted e-commerce. That was just the cons of like
right,
online shopping
yeah,
in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. So those are the pros and the cons. As far as what we recommend, what you heard Jason just talk about right here, and we'll hit this real quick. We recommend starting with a hosted e-commerce platform like a Shopify or a BigCommerce. We have other trainings about Shopify specifically. If you want to deep dive into what Shopify is, you can learn faster, pivot until it works, learn what your customers want, pivot until it works, focus on the reviews and the credibility, getting good at SEO, getting good at advertising. This is what you're saying was what we should do.
Yes.
What you recommend, you've done a lot of consulting, you worked with a ton of different clients. This is probably... not everybody. If you're Uber, this isn't good for you, but for a lot of people, this is where you should start.
For most people, it's important to just get out there and learn what you don't know. Just start the process.
Give us a couple of examples of people that, like, what kind of products or services are these that are actually using this?
Well, these are people that I know. One lady in particular sells cookies online.
Okay.
And a few years ago, that was kind of unheard of. Fresh products, right?
Yeah.
Selling cookies, baked goods, because they go bad after a certain period of time.
Yeah.
There's certain government regulations. So in her case, she had to learn all these things and how to keep products fresh, how to make them the right way, and how to bag them and ship them. And, she has her own unique, situation.
Yeah.
But really, you can buy anything online, anything you can ship, right? FedEx, UPS, USPS, anything you can move, any kind of product. You can sell online within reason, of course.
Okay.
But so you are going to have to watch a training like this and figure out what works for you.
What fits for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So let's talk action steps.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. The action steps here. I don't know how long the soundbite goes. We'll just, and we'll just right there, cut that. Okay. So the action steps here. We just watched this training. Hopefully, you've kind of been like, okay, obviously, this is the one for me. Maybe it wasn't Shopify. Maybe it was something else. But hopefully, the point is you've figured out what you do want to do. Action steps here. Determine what kind of products you will sell online.
Yeah.
What is that?
So that's go back to the Amazon, Etsy, eBay.
Yep.
Versus custom.
Yep.
Versus Shopify, BigCommerce.
Yep.
You got to think about what kind of products. Is it vintage collectibles? Are they one-off? Does it need to be an auction style? Are they fresh baked goods? Is it the next Uber?
Yep.
Next Airbnb? You got to figure out what you're selling.
Okay.
What is it? Because that's going to drive everything from that point on.
So once you figure out what kind of products you're going to sell,
right,
you can then choose to sell on an existing marketplace. But of the three options we gave you, you probably already know which one your niche is, right? Like at this point, it shouldn't be like a long active Congress to figure that out. You probably knew right away when we started talking about it, that's the one I need to be on. If you can choose to build your own shopping cart, do you have sufficient capital to make it work? So you're saying custom software, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
But do you have the money to pull it off?
Yeah. You need to expect that your cost will double.
Okay.
Be ready for that to happen. It'll get out of control somewhere.
Okay.
So you just have to have sufficient, that's the key word, sufficient capital.
And then your action step, if you choose to use a hosted e-commerce platform like Shopify, sign up for an account and just start using it.
Just start.
That's the point of those platforms, right? Like
Absolutely.
They try to make it as easy as possible for you to jump on and get going.
Right. You just got to get going. Just start it.
Okay. And then do you have everything you need to get started? Do you have things like target customers? Do you have things like product information?
Yeah.
Product information including like photography, descriptions, pricing strategy, your merchant account, basically saying, do you have all your ducks in a row? Have you filled out your forms? Do you have an actual picture of the widget you're selling?
Yeah.
Or do you not? I mean, because it's going to be hard for me to buy the widget if I don't know what the widget looks like.
Right.
Okay. And then you're at the Watch Our Training on the 10 things you need to consider before building an online shopping cart.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So watch that training if you have not done that yet. This has been how to learn the basics of where I'm going to sell online. And we already started with this. We'll just end with, we had this in the first one. We'll end with Juicy here as well. Again, if you have not watched it yet, watch the 10 things you need to consider before building an online shopping cart. Jason Stewart. Thanks, buddy.
Let's do it.